I can improve, my employee will get as much work done in that time frame, if not more.
They're going to be happier at work.
If I'm getting, here it is, here's an input, here's an output. If I'm getting more output for the same input, why would I have a problem with that? I wouldn't, because I'm rational. So if I'm rational enough to see that making my employee have one more day off work, so long as here's your work you need to get done, that's the standard, crack on. You get it done, I don't give a fuck. Why would I care? I wouldn't. The answer is if I knew that, even if I knew that your well-being was better and you're getting the same work done, then that would be better. Because I know if you're happier, or your well-being is like you're happier, then you're going to get a better job done.
Yeah.
It's not linear.
Advanced companies, say like advanced, probably shouldn't say it that way. Say companies in like Silicon Valley, a lot of them do incorporate that sort of structure.
Yes.
Or it'll be less about turning up between these hours and doing this much work or having this many allocated breaks. It's more just we're going to give you a little bit of wiggle room to do your job.
Get these tasks done.
Yeah, get the task done. Do it in the time that you see fit, and as long as you're not taking the piss. But people, if they want the job, they will usually figure it out.
Or like, man, if there's clear, solid study or evidence to suggest that changing something is going to have a positive effect, and it's not really that hard.
Why wouldn't you take advantage of it?
Exactly. Why wouldn't you do it? Why would you not implement it? It makes no sense.
I think traditional businesses are just scared because they've always done something the set way for so many years that the thought of trying to just try something brand new is terrifying.
And then you've got places like Google that take it to the extreme. You know, where for example, one thing I found really interesting was
one day.
you get it all done. They kind of like they push it. Like for example, a few years ago, Google got kind of like hung up for being like a bit of like sexist workplace because men were overrepresented. But the reality was less women are interested in coding and programming than women, so that's just simply how this ended up. So to make a point, Google basically just started employing more diversity and more women just to be like, no, this and that, to like, but it's kind of like it's proving a childish point just to reinforce the idea that they're a modern social company, as opposed to the reality that we're hiring for a job and
this person's the best fit.
That person was the best fit, and it was a guy because
it's a difficult balance because in terms of performance for males and females, there's like a few differences between say cognitive abilities, but in reality it is there's not that much, like it's not that noticeable. It is very behavioral. So the way that you develop, the skills that you learn throughout your lifetime will build up to create, say, your expertise when you're an adult. So it's not that
Pareto distribution, bro. We've talked about this before. Males show more interest in things, people, and then from a young age that cultivates a long-term trajectory of where I'm likely to end up. That's why my brother's an engineer and has poor emotional intelligence, which he does. He didn't give a fuck if I got a hiding when I was a kid, But and that's because of the way his brain works, and he's not very good with emotional discussions.
He's locked in with
because that's how his fucking brain works, man, and that's just how he is. And he's an engineer, and he went to Canterbury, and there were like a couple girls in his class, and the rest was guys. But and then I think and I think like if you look into the social sciences, like then you'll see overrepresentation. It's just simply. That's just. I think there's more biology at play as opposed to.
It's hard to know based on the way that our society works because there will be a mixture of genetics or biology, and then there'll also be your social upbringing. Because we do have, say, blue for boys, pink for girls, trucks for boys, Barbies for girls, but like there is a wee bit of assistance there. Say like the argument is girls are going to be more motherly, so they're more likely to simulate like motherly parental play, and then boys are more likely to go and kill shit or like throw things.
Aggressive.
So there's a bit of biology there, but then you can override it.
Yeah.
There is I personally think there's a huge amount of biology at play. I personally think if I really, well, I shouldn't use my daughter as a test case, but I think there's a huge amount.
It's a case study that you're watching.
Well, that's one that I've seen, but
Just
even in terms of they've done some really interesting tests with kids, like putting from very young ages, putting kids in rooms and allowing them to pick what they play with no influence. Anyway, we're getting the fuck down another rabbit
That's
hole.
another video on itself.
We'll try to finish with this.
But
if we were going to change to the 4 and 3, like work 4 days, 3-day weekend, I think the people that are like 40, 50, 60 years old that have been doing it for their whole life would be the hardest to get used to because they don't have any hobbies.
Maybe
So what are you going to do on Friday?
Maybe it's best to let them play
Keep
out the
working.
remainder of their work life.
True.
Yeah. And anyone under 35 or under 40 that's keen, take their 4 and 3.
Hey man, like, because you're working at work for 4 and 3, but those of us with hobbies and projects and pursuits of passion are probably going to be spending a fair bit of time on that time off. So that's the way I disseminate work. I don't really call work because I'm working a lot. So I spend X amount of hours at that location, and then I spend X amount of hours in the evening, and then so it's.
If you enjoy it, it's not
so
work,
if
is
you
it?
count, well, not even necessarily enjoyment. If you some projects and things add up to something, but they might not be monetized, but it's still time and work orientated. It produces some sort of outcome.
It's a different reward system than say
Correct. That's right.
you turn up
That's
and
it.
then you're getting paid for this many hours.
That's right. Yeah.
I know, say for myself, making videos, only just started getting into this, but I would happily come in every single day and work on my computer and create things just because it's fun. You get to do whatever you.
There will be work in this too, dude. Man. Like if you get a buzz out of doing your work, cool.
Yeah.
That's all that matters. I can get a buzz out of it. Boom, done. And
you just want to create a happier society,
It's
And if you want to keep working 5 days because you love your job, then
it means you're probably going to be productive because you're going to enjoy it and pour more effort into it.
Of course you will.
Yeah.
Of course you will. You always exist where you add value.
But surely the majority would be like, no, I'll take that day off. I've got other things I'd like to be doing.
I think
life isn't just 8 hours a day at work. You sleep for 8 hours,
Our choice of work roles and outcomes are related to our risk stratification. This is what I utterly believe this. I think someone's probably quantified it. For example, if job A I dislike but it pays 100 grand versus job B, which is a job of pursuit, pays 40 grand, many people will take the 100 grand. So they will sacrifice their well-being. So
for future well-being.
Yeah,
but
that's why I'd do it. Because I'm going to be chilling.
Because their risk stratification is money is my risk stratification. They haven't taken into account that every minute I spend in that job is a more enjoyed minute, adds to my well-being, adds to my
water.
Correct. And remember, I think I've discussed this.
Water runners.
Bro, like every moment that you exist in a job that cultivates passion or value, you're learning and you're improving and you're developing. It's you're living in improvement. That's it. Every minute you spend in something else is a minute that's taken away from that. So there's a fight. But socially, most people's risk stratification is that it's more risky to have to receive a lower wage for enjoyment than to sacrifice that for money, which to me is insane. And they also have no long game. No one has long game, and I know I have long game because I've been broke my whole life. I'm still broke, and one day I won't be. But I'm 30.
You got two businesses.
I've got to, yeah, that's right. And I'm going on 31, and I've been holding in there because I know that it's better for my well-being and it's going to pay off. Yeah. I know it's going to pay off, and I'm willing to hold in there longer than everyone else. I know it's going to pay off, and it'll be another year, and it might be another year, and it might be another year, but then it's going to happen, and then there will be financial along with the passion, and then it'll be like, what's up, man? What, you know,
Life is
fucking.
good.